of Star Wars Legion on Tabletop Simulator. This time we have Hoffburger on the Imperials versus Luunta from the Rebellion. And we have the players are deploying now, so while the deployments go on here, I'm going to do a quick review of the army lists that we're seeing, and then we will proceed to the game. Okay, so we have here on the top side of the table, we have Hoffburger. So Hoffburger is an outspoken competitive player on the Legion Discord, but this is his first time. I believe this is actually his first game in any season of the Invader League. I'm not entirely sure on that, but I believe this is his first game in any season. He had some scheduling conflicts that had prevented him from playing in previous seasons. So now we are seeing him on the league at last. We will see how he performs against Luunta, who is also an experienced player. So looking at the armies, Hoff is on the Imperials, Luunta is on the Rebels, and we seem to have a fairly standard major offensive deployment. This is a pretty frequent deployment, actually. It's basically this sort of L-shaped area. As you can see, one side has the bottom right, one side has the top left, and in addition to having a box, you also have a bit of extra space to get in there. Looks like they've also gone with the rapid reinforcements here. So rapid reinforcements is a deployment type where one player is going to be, each player is going to set aside up to 2 units that will deploy in reserves, and it looks like Hoffburger has set aside just 2 units of stormtroopers, and Luunta has chosen to only set aside 1 of his units, a unit of rebel troopers. Now, normally I do actually like setting aside fewer units with this, because I think it can be kind of a disadvantage to have your guys come in later, but there has been an errata to rapid reinforcements recently, which means that the first version of this card didn't have your guys coming in until turn 2, and they didn't do anything when they came in. Now they come in on turn 1. They still don't do anything on the turn that they come in, but the fact that they don't waste 2 turns has made the card substantially more viable. Additionally, it's now mandatory to do it. In the past, it would frequently be the case that people would just choose to put aside 0 of their units, whereas now you have to choose at least 1. And for the objective, I believe we have key positions here, with the 3 key positions being we have the area in the bottom right, the large canister there with the satellite dish on top of it. We have the large structure in the center of the board, and then we have the barricade on the left side. So looking at this field, we'll have to see how things progress. Right now the players are just deploying their units, which is not incredibly exciting, but we're going to move on to doing some list analysis here. So the first thing to note is obviously that Hoff is on the Rebels and Luunta is on, or Hoff is on the Empire, I'm sorry, and Luunta is on the Rebels. So generally speaking, the way that these different sides work is that the Empire is a little bit more expensive and it has better vehicles but worse characters. The Rebels are a little bit less expensive, and they have better characters but worse vehicles. Rebels tend to be a little less forgiving because they have worse armor, which means that you have to use terrain more to keep your guys alive, whereas on the Imperial side of things, that's less of a factor. Imperials are a little bit more forgiving because if you do make that mistake and your guys get caught in the open, you have more defense on your defense die, rather than being reliant on cover and dodge and so on to provide your defense. So a little bit more forgiving. So let's take a quick look at the lists here. So we have Leia Organa on the Rebel side of things. So she is a strong commander. She's actually probably one of the best characters in the game. So her fighting stats are decent but not great. She has 6 health, 2 courage. She has surge to crit on offense, which is always nice, and surge to block on defense. and she has 3 black dice at range 1 to 2 with Pierce 1, and 3 black dice in melee. She also has Sharpshooter 2, which means she ignores cover. She has Nimble, she has Inspire 2, allowing her to remove suppression from nearby units, and she has Take Cover 2. Oh, looks like we have a disconnect here. Not sure what's caused that. We're having some issues here. 1 second, guys. But continuing the train of thought on Leia. So her fighting stats are good but not great. The main reason that people are running her is that she has excellent command cards, some of the best command cards in the game. She has her 1-pip card, Coordinated Bombardment, is extremely strong. It allows her to make a bombardment attack that goes from range 3 to infinity, which means that she has a minimum range on that attack, but it can also hit the opponent basically from anywhere. So that's pretty cool. And then her, in addition, she has her kind of that's her 1-pip card, and because this combines with her Sharpshooter 2, this is one of the strongest attacks in the game in terms of picking off snipers, picking off units at a long distance, just kind of getting kills in scenarios where it might otherwise not be that safe to do. And because of that, it's really one of Leia's best assets. Even if the opponent hasn't brought snipers or similar units, you can still bombard like 3 trooper units, kill a few troopers, and put some suppression out in the early game, kind of preventing the opponent from doing as much as they would like. Sorry for the black screen here, guys. We're going to try to restart Tabletop Simulator. I'm not entirely sure what's going on, but we are definitely having some issues here. We're definitely having some issues here with the match, and we will be coming back to you. Shortly. In the interim, so Leia has her bombardment. Her 2-pip card is also extremely good. It's that's the card No Time for Sorrows. It activates 2 troopers, and after you activate each one, you get to make a free speed 1 move. And the really important thing is it's not during their turn, it's when you activate them. So that's actually a big advantage, because if you have a unit that's caught in like an unsafe position, you can use this and duck them out behind cover before the opponent gets a chance to punish you for it. So this can be, there's a lot of uses for this. You can get Wookiees or Luke or whatever in melee early. You can there are many ways that you can use this card. You can get people into danger, you can get people out of danger, you can run away with the objective, you can get guys on the objective that weren't going to be able to get there. The ability to take a free move as like a command card effect that doesn't use any of your turn can be extremely valuable. Leia's third command card is Somebody Has to Save Our Skins. It's probably her weakest card. It's a 3-pip that's Leia and 2 other units, and when you use it, it has an effect where after you activate Leia, you can then immediately act again with another one of your units if it has a face-up token and is at range 1 to 2 of her. So basically this lets you do 2 activations in a row. The downside is that the range limitations and similar mean that often this doesn't end up being that impactful relative to just playing like the normal 3-pip, what's it called? Is that Assault? Yeah, Assault, where it's just 3 units. It's like a bit better, but it's not like better enough to be amazing. Screwtape77 asks, what unit do you think has the best set of command cards? That's a really tough call. I think it would probably be Luke. Luke's command cards are extremely good. Han Solo is also a candidate. I think the best single, Emperor Palpatine also has excellent command cards. I think the best single card in the game is probably Leia's Coordinated Bombardment. I think that if almost any other character had that, it would be a huge buff to them. Probably not Luke, but basically anybody else. Though one of the main reasons it's strong is because Leia has Sharpshooter too, so maybe it wouldn't be as strong. Like if you had that as Han's 1-pip card, I'm not sure that it would. I think it would be better than his current one, but I don't know if it would be that much better than his current one, since without Sharpshooter 2 it would be much less reliably getting 2 wounds in there. Han's change of plan. I'm just gonna say some standout cards, I guess. Han's change of plans is really good. The Emperor Palpatine's card, and Now You Will Die, is very annoying. There are several others that are similarly good. It seems like, according to this, some people are saying Steam may be down. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Steam is functional for me. I think Bosk's card that gives you like 10 aims is stupid. I think Sabine has some pretty cool stuff. It's hard to say. I do think that command cards are getting more powerful with time. When the game came out, like Luke's card that activates 2 units and gives them both dodges was super good, but I think that we're slowly seeing cards becoming more powerful. Luke's 3-pip gives him 1 dodge, activates 2 other units, and does like a kind of cool effect. Sabine's 3-pip gives her at least 1 token and up to 3, and activates 3 units. It seems like it's sort of a better version. Okay, so it sounds like there is an issue. I'm in Tabletop Simulator now. And yeah, it looks like the server browser is down. There's apparently an issue with Steam, and as a result of that, the game is being postponed. They're telling me that they're going to spend up to 5 minutes. They're going to spend up to 5 minutes waiting to see whether or not Steam comes back up. And if it does not, they're going to postpone the game. So my apologies to anyone who tuned in and may now be seeing a very unhyped stream here. The fact that Steam is currently down is preventing the game from being played, or at least the Tabletop Simulator part of Steam. Let's just discuss some more. Let's discuss some more things with respect to lists while this is going on. So I believe that I had seen Luunta's list, and I believe he was also running Han. Han has come up in discussions for having very strong command cards of his own. So Han has the ability. One of his cards is. Sorry About the Mess, which is actually a 0-pip card. It's the only 0-pip card in the game, so it guarantees that you go first. And it gives Han, so in addition to being the fastest card, it gives Han a free aim and a free dodge, so that's pretty cool in the right circumstances. Sometimes you can do this to do a very strong, like, last first attack, where you activate Han as one of your last things, run him out there, shoot 2 trooper units. Then at the start of the next turn, you play Sorry About the Mess, take 2 more quick shots at those trooper units. That can do heavy casualties, especially if you catch them in the open or in only light cover. So then that's Han's quote-unquote 1-pip. It's treated as a 1-pip when you're building your deck. Han's 2-pip is Reckless Diversion, also quite a strong card. It activates Han and 1 other trooper unit, I believe. And then the opponent has to shoot at one of the units with a face-up token if they can. And they have to do so with as many weapons as possible, so this basically forces them to engage targets that are not necessarily so good. So one very basic use of this is, I've used this on the first turn to force the opponent to use their bombardment on Han and on something that isn't that relevant instead of a sniper, I believe. I think I've done that before. But another use of it might be, there's the so-called Sorry About the Barbecue list where you're running 3 Flamer ATRTs. And that list uses this card to ensure that the Flamer ATRTs end up attacking something, end up getting a chance to get in, because the opponent has to fire at Han, even though they would prefer to engage the ATRTs as they're closing in. And then it can also do Sorry About the Mess to go first and get another chance to get in there with an HQ uplink, potentially. Han's 3-pip, though, is maybe his most impactful card, and since the other 2 are already pretty disruptive, that's really saying something. His 3-pip is Change of Plans, and you play it and then you can discard it and play another card to force your opponent to repick their command cards. That's a really strong ability. And it works best in situations where there's one command card that you know they're going to go for that's really strong. So an example of this is against Emperor Palpatine lists. It's usually pretty obvious when they're going to go for "and now you will die." And if you play Change of Plans and block that, that ends up being a situation where often that can just decide the game, because if they run the Emperor out to prepare to do "and now you will die" and hit a bunch of your units, and you prevent them from doing that, they might have to run back into cover, they might get shot by a bunch of things, they end up being substantially set back. And if you're running Han with Chewie, it's even better, because Chewie has the ability to play his Notorious Scoundrels 3-pip card. And Notorious Scoundrels is a card that it activates just Han and Chewie, which is a low number of activations for a 3-pip. But it has a big advantage, which is that it actually gives you a command card of Han's back. So what you can do with this is you can play Change of Plans, and then after you use Change of Plans, you discard it and play a new card. So the new card that you play might end up just being Notorious Scoundrels, which can then take back the Change of Plans that you just discarded. So you can actually prevent someone from doing the card that they want 2 turns in a row if you're using both Han and Chewie, and that's a very strong combination. So Han is pretty cool, and I do think this is actually a Han, Chewie, Leia list from Luunta. So Chewie's command cards, Chewie has one command card that synergizes with each of the main 3 rebel characters, Luke, Han, and Leia. So his 1-pip activates both him and Luke, and after one of them activates, the other after one of them takes his action, the other can immediately go. This is strong for 2 reasons. First off, it's a 1-pip that activates multiple things. Most 1-pips only activate one character. Secondly, the fact that you can use 2 potentially high impact characters in a row can be really good. So the dream scenario with that card is you play it, Luke and Chewie are both in a position to get in and attack enemy units up close, you get to go first, and both Luke and Chewie move in and charge enemy squads and beat them up, and then either kill them or tie them up for the rest of the turn. That can be a really impactful start to the turn. So that's a very strong card in the right situation. However, it's not played very frequently simply because there are not very many lists that are using both Luke and Chewie at this phase. Stevens, yeah, no, it's not just you. We're watching the Tabletop Simulator starting screen because the Steam servers appear to be down for Tabletop Simulator. So currently we're just waiting to see if that's going to come back up. If it doesn't come back up in the next few minutes, they're going to reschedule the game. But we were in the game earlier, we got disconnected thanks to issues with Steam, and now we are kind of just hanging out here waiting to see what happens next. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, Chewie's command cards. Chewie's 2-pip is for him and Leia. It's Brains and Brawn, actually also a very strong card. And the way that card works is that it activates Chewie and Leia, and if Leia makes a ranged attack and Chewie is in range and line of sight and not engaged, he can fire his gun, or he can add his gun to the pool for the attack. So this attack is actually extraordinarily strong, because if you combine the 2 things, you end up with 2 red, 3 black, 2 white, with Pierce 2, Impact 1, and because it's being fired from Leia, you have Surge to Crit and Sharpshooter 2. So that attack is so powerful that it can kill entire units in 1 hit. However, that card does require some setup to pull off, so while it's extremely strong in terms of raw power, it's not necessarily always seen just because it's difficult to do. And then Chewie's 3-pip is the one that we discussed earlier, Notorious Scoundrels, activates him and Han, and it returns one of Han's cards to your hand from the discard pile. So that's a way to just redo stuff. It has a strong combo with Change of Plans, and it's not going to be the best. It's not going to be the best on its own, but in combination with some of the disruptive things Han can do, it ends up being really strong. Yeah, it does unfortunately look like Steam is still down here. We'll see whether or not that changes, but we may have to delay this stream. Sorry guys, that's I know that's not what we were hoping for here. But we'll have to see how things progress here. Yeah, and it is a Han Leia Chewie list. Han Leia Chewie is actually a build where there's some question as to what cards that are being used. The reason that I say that is, you have extra command cards, so it's very likely we're going to see Bombardment. It's very likely that we're going to see It's very likely that we're going to see No Time for Sorrows. It's very likely that we're going to see Reckless Diversion. But when it comes to the 2 pips, there's a chance that he's going to play Brains and Brawn instead. On the 3 pip side of things, probably he cuts Leia's 3 pip and plays the Change of Plans Notorious Scoundrels combo. But yeah. Oh, unfortunately, guys, I just now have received a message from Hoffburger. He's telling me that because the Steam servers are down, they're actually going to reschedule this game for next week. Sorry, guys. I know that's not what you guys are wanting to hear, but without the ability to host the game, we are going to be rescheduling, and I will try to bring you live coverage of that. It's possible that Steam will come back up sometime soon, and we will resume the game. But it sounds like unless something happens very fast, this one's probably going to be happening next weekend instead. I'm gonna turn off the stream for now. I will let you guys know if things come back up. But for now, I don't think this game is going to be played unless something changes soon. So sorry for the anticlimactic stream, and we will be back later with more Star Wars Legion content. Sorry about that, guys. I know it's not the result we were hoping for, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Catch you guys later.